So you just mentioned that religion is a very tough religion. So
Yes.
I still think Buddhism is a religion. A lot of people here might also think Buddhism is a religion. So what is considered to be a religion? That's one of my questions.
Okay.
And my understanding is, like the reason why I'm here, I really like Buddhism teachings, some wisdom there,
Yes.
and a lot of interesting stuff.
Yes.
And for me, I think it's a lifestyle.
Okay.
The reason why you shake your head is not because you're a Buddhist. That's my opinion. It's not because you're a Buddhist, and I think it's because it's clean.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what I heard from Dalai Lama. It is because it's clean, not because you are Buddhist. So anyway, just go back to the first question.
Okay.
Do you think Buddhism is a religion, and why is it considered to be a religion?
Okay. So if I can just route and to just comment on the shaving of the head. For some, we follow the monastic code, where we usually would shave once our hair goes beyond like 2-finger width. Yeah, before it goes beyond 2-finger width, we'll shave. We can shave anytime before that as well. But you can imagine if we shave every day, then it's very busy, you know. For me, it happened to coincide with what you said. I will often shave when it becomes too grimy. So the shaving process is part of the removing of the hairs, you know, excess hair, grime and scalp and all those things as well. Now, in the Buddha's time, there were a few layers of reasons. One of it being that the whole Indian society, well, actually there was no Indian society to begin with in the Buddha's time, because there was no one India. Yeah, it was a continent with 16 different states. But by and large, the society back then, they would, while not all of them are Brahmins, there are those who are warriors, there are those who are merchants and laborers. But they all mostly would subscribe to the Brahminic beliefs. And so one of the beliefs is that the hair is precious, the body is precious. It is all a gift in a way. So they don't cut off their bodily hair. So in those days, some of the ascetics, they would cut off their hair in a way like an act of defiance, to say, I'm no longer part of this system. Yeah, so that's that element of it. The other part of it is for hygiene purposes. By cutting off the hair, it is easier to maintain, even if you don't wash your hair for a few days, or a week, or two. In India. Yeah. So that's that part. Yes.
So one more question about the hair.
Okay.
If you grow your hair longer than 2 fingers,
Yes.
like just
As long as yours.
as long as mine,
Wow.
are you still considered a Buddhist?
Well, their hair is as long as yours,
So yes,
but she's a Buddhist, is as long as yours. So they are Buddhists, I'm also a Buddhist, but I'm also part of the monastic order. Yeah, so the monastic order has another set of rules beyond what they have, where there are certain things that we have to do. Part of it is making sure that our hair is cut short. Now, this may seem quite queer, like, what's the deal, right? So it was part of what the Buddha would advise the monks or instruct the monks to do. And part of it was like, why do we wear this? This is an evolution of what the monks used to wear. Yeah, the monks and nuns used to wear. This is purely Chinese. This long robe, this is purely Chinese. Yeah, and this is an adaptation from what the Tang Dynasty people wear. Yeah, so why are we still wearing this? So this is in line with one of the principles, which is that the Buddha allowed us to wear clothing that would distinguish us from the non-monastic. Yeah, and part of it was the hair thing.
Okay, so why is it a religion?
Yes. So let me add on to your question. Is it a religion? Is it a school of thought? Yeah, a philosophy? Or is it a way of life? So let me ask you, what am I?
A person.
Okay. What am I? Really? Just a monk? How about anybody out there on this side? What am I? A shifu. And over here, what am I? Teacher. Yeah. And that very elderly lady on the corner. What am I? So the same thing can be seen differently by different people.
So different person has different perception towards one thing.
Yes.
Like some people think it's a religion, some people don't think it's a religion.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. But for other, for example, Christian.
Yes.
For example, Muslim. It's clearly said that they are religion. But for Buddhism, some people say it's a religion, some people say it's not.
Yes.
And for other religions, there is something called God.
Yes.
Someone who is like who has supernatural power or something like that.
There is a belief in the presence of someone with supernatural power.
Yes,
not that in their religion they have. In their religion they have a belief that
Yeah.
Yes.
That's called religion, right? And
Yes.
In Buddhism, actually Buddha is a person.
Yes.
He was a prince.
Yes.
So
He was an amazing person.
and he didn't have superpower.
Well, he did have superpowers, but not all-powerful superpowers. And he never claimed to have all-powerful superpowers. Take for example, some would say that it takes superpower to actually forgive someone who tried to murder you.
Okay, alright. If you say so. Yeah.
Some people would say that, but if you see a raging elephant charging at you, and you do not flinch, and in fact when someone else stand in front of you and try to protect you, out of concern for that person, you actually ask the person to step aside. And then for that person to be able to stop the elephant, not with a gun, not with a knife, not by shouting, but with a kind heart, with compassion. To be able to cause an elephant who was supposed to be, who was said to have been intoxicated, and then charging. And it's not a small elephant, it's a full-grown bull of an elephant. Charging, and then to be able to cause it to go down on its knee and actually cry. Some would say that that is supernatural. Others would say, well, very well-trained human being.
If that's considered to be superpower, and then everybody can be a Buddha.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Well, you see? Yeah, exactly. So, and you see, exactly. And you didn't get this from attending a Dharma class, you know. It's just a logical conclusion, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the beauty about Buddhism. It doesn't require you to believe anything. That if that is true, then this must be true.
Yeah, it doesn't take a leap of
Faith.
to just. That's why I like it. It's
Yeah.
like a normal thing.
It's a
Everyone
normal
can
thing.
approach it. It's accessible.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And so, because of that, there are some who try to dismiss it as a religion. There are some people who would make the statement, but Buddha is not God. When I was in junior college, what we call high school in other countries, I remember this conversation with a friend, Magdalene, and we were walking to the bus stop, and then she just casually asked me like, hey, do you know that, do you know something? I said, yeah, what? Do you know that Buddha is not God? And I was like, uh-huh. And then she's like, you know? I said, yeah. Then why are you praying to him? Why are you worshipping him? I'm like, no, I don't worship him. And then he's like, huh? You don't worship him? You see, most people from most religion, they believe in some supernatural being. They believe that the supernatural being created the whole world, and so they, as a result, they have their own tenets, they have their own worldview. Yeah, they have their own idea of, okay, because they believe in that, so what should they do to make sure that things go okay, so to speak. So for them, it's hard to understand other religion where there's no such a parallel system. Different religions may differ in what they believe in terms of which God they believe in, but they all have a, to me, somewhat similar model. So Buddhism is quite a different model. So for them it's like, huh? And so sometimes people make the statement, Buddha is not God. For us it's like, yeah. But for them, when they make that statement, it was actually an attempt to put Buddhism down. Because compared to, if you compare, let's say, handphone, right? Yeah. You know, they're comparing three features. Yeah. So then they also then make the statement, Buddhism is not a religion war. So that's the reason why some people do that. Yeah. But
so Buddha is a teacher.
He is, and that's why he describes himself.
Just a teacher teaches good things, that's it.
Huh?
He's just a teacher and he teaches good things.
Oh, he don't just teach good things. And that's the tricky part. Because he don't say that he's the creator. He says, he declares himself as a teacher, as a doctor, so to speak. He teaches us to do good. And then more. He teaches us why we should do good, not just do good. He teaches us how to do good, not just go and do good. Anyone can say, do good. But he teaches us, explains to us why we should be doing good. Yeah? And then also why you should avoid doing bad. He also teaches you, if you try doing good, you may not succeed. You may feel, a turmoil. How you can overcome that turmoil. He teaches us all the whole path, the process. Yeah? So that you can actually achieve, most importantly, he's a teacher who teaches you how to be like him. Not just continue to be his teacher, subject to his bidding. But he teaches us to become like him, a Buddha, an awakened one. So yeah, he is just a teacher.